Good morning, how are you all doing? I've got an interesting topic for you today to spice up your week. Now, as you know, I am a sex-positive therapist, and I've read a thing recently about Pornhub releasing some stats about the consumption of gay porn. And the way they classify gay porn is all manner of queer porn, while we're at it as well. Now, we're not going to get into a debate whether we think porn is a good thing or a bad thing. That's maybe another topic, but I think some of those results are really interesting. And I'm going to read some to you as well, because obviously I can't remember these things at the top of my head. But the region in England, this is for the UK by the way only, but the region in the UK that shows the greatest increase in 2025 by 77% is the South East, followed by Northern Ireland with a plus 38% consumption, then the North West by plus 24. And interestingly, the lower numbers are in London and the North East. Now, I was thinking about why would this be, and I think it's really interesting. Why would this be? Firstly, if you think about the southeast, I think there are two reasons why this increase might be explained by. One is that the southeast has got a lot of commuter towns, so therefore potentially there are a fair amount of single professionals, and therefore maybe the social life is in London. They live somewhere in a more conservative areas, in places like Kent, for example, and therefore it's more likely that watching online porn is one of the ways they will get their kicks, so to say, right? Equally, why would Northern Ireland be a place which has got high consumption of gay porn? Maybe because it's still a fairly conservative society, so there aren't many venues or areas in which people in the community can express their sexuality, so therefore they would potentially go online and consume a lot of that content. Now, interestingly, London and the Northeast, which have sort of larger, fairly well-established cosmopolitan areas, where there will be more access to venues or communities in which queer sex can be enjoyed and so on. Maybe that's why those areas have less consumption of online porn. So, what's the point of all this, you ask? Good luck to people if that's what they want to do. Agreed. But I think it's really interesting, firstly, to understand how your locality influences potentially the way you express your sexual preferences and your sexual life, your sexual activity, and so on. So the locality, the sort of the community, if you like, it's very important, not because it defines you, but because your access to sex, if you like, is restricted in a certain way, or indeed available in a certain way. So that's really important. And the reason this is important is because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, well, people go online, we shouldn't let young people go online, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, which is fair enough. But at the same time, young people in areas where they might not find communities and venues to engage in their sexual preference might need to go online, because that's where they might find their communities. So I think two things come out of this, and again, I'm not going to discuss here whether porn is a good or a bad thing, and I suspect the answer is somewhere in the middle. But the point is that the way we go online, the way we consume porn content and so on online, depends a lot on what happens in our lives. And I think this is really interesting. So when we as therapists, we're talking about being sex positive, and we are talking about encouraging people to explore and sort of enhance their sexual experience, for example, we also need to be mindful of wherever their locality is. And I think that's a really important part of therapy, to fully understand a person's experience, not just to kind of go through a whole list, if you like, a protocol of sex positive stuff. I think we need to dig deep. I think we need to understand more about where they are and where they are at that moment in time. Have a good day.